You can taste and evaluate coffee at home just like a professional roaster would, and it's actually really easy to do. The process is called cupping, and to start we just need a small bowl or a cup like this. We want to know how much liquid the cup holds so that we can get our coffee to water ratio right, and you can do that by placing it on a scale and just filling it up with water. This cup holds about 220 grams when filled to the brim, so we're just going to take that number and divide it by 18 to get the weight of the coffee that we're going to use. An 18:1 ratio is sort of standard for cupping, so then we can weigh out that same amount of the coffee we want to evaluate. At this point, we can also take note of the visual characteristics of the coffee beans, like their shape, size, and color. And then we'll grind the coffee at a medium grind size, which should look something like this. We'll add that into our cup and take note of how the coffee smells after it's been ground. It's also good to have on hand a cup filled with hot water and an additional cup for discarded coffee grounds and foam. We also need a couple of spoons, and it's helpful to use a larger size like soup spoons if you have them. When we're ready to start, we're going to pour hot water just off boil over the coffee grounds all the way up to the brim. Here I'm using about 210 Fahrenheit. And once that's done, we'll start a timer and let it sit for about 4 minutes. And while we're waiting, we can take note of the aroma as it sits and brews. Once we've hit the 4-minute mark, we do what's called breaking the crust, where we take a spoon and push through that top crust layer a couple of times while inhaling the aromas. This part usually smells really good. And after that, we'll take our other spoon and use this technique with the spoons together to remove that top layer of foam and put it in our discard cup. And we can use that cup of hot water that we prepped earlier to rinse off our spoons. We'll let it cool down for a few minutes, but then it's time to start tasting. So we're going to take spoonfuls like this and slurp them, spraying the coffee across our palate. I know it seems weird, but it is actually the best way to enhance our flavor perception. See if you can pick out certain tasting notes and see how the flavor changes as the coffee cools down. It's good to go through this process when you get a new bag of coffee so that you can have a baseline understanding of what it tastes like before you try different brewing methods with it. It also just generally results in a really good brew.